The Law of Yertle. Xife's history. Species: Xif. Galaxy: Boog. System: Prime Boog. Planet: Lander. Height: 1920 millimeters, 6 feet 3 inches. Born into a powerful family called Perdition, and despite knowing this, he never used this power to help lift his status. Instead, he built everything up on his own blood and sweat to help build his own name, Xife. Through his career in the military, Xife was famous for removing all opposers using his own skills rather than the power of his name alone, despite his mother and father's objections. At first, he wasn't like this at all. At first, Admiral Xife was the youngest son of Perdition. He didn't have any ambitions of power and only enjoyed time with his friends. Xife had one particular family member who he adored above all others, Gustavo, who joined the military 20 years before the war. On the day the war between Unity and Yertle began, Xife was with his friends, drinking in a peaceful park on planet Lander. The planet of Lander had a bright blue sky with an even brighter star shining down onto it. The grass under Xife was purple, with little red and white flowers mixed in. He grabbed a clump of it and pulled it up as he and his friends basked in the sun. Planet Lander had tall and healthy trees blended in with tall, sharp buildings. They all spread across the planet like a metal and wooden jungle. When the news was broken that Unity had launched an attack across the galaxy of Hypo 3 within Yertle's territory, Xife and his friends couldn't believe it, and they began to wonder just how it could affect them. They were still young, and the thought of war had never occurred to them. The same could be said for many of the species within Yertle. For generations, Yertle had only known peace and prosperity across its own space and with its neighbours. The years passed. Xife continued on with his life, even now that the war had raged on for many years. Soon the time would come for him to start looking at a career. He knew this day would come, as it had come for many of the Xif species before him. It had come faster than he had wished. With his family name behind him, he could have had any job, but Xife wanted to make his own mark on Yertle, his own way. So, he decided to follow in the footsteps of Gustavo, and decided to enlist. Many of the Xif species served in the Yertle military, and it was a great choice for most species within Yertle altogether. Before the war, they still had to protect against pirates and transporters that stalked their borders. The Xif species may not have been as strong as the Argans or as brutal as the Kraniks, but what they did have was their devastating intelligence. The Xif could always be counted on to outsmart any other species who opposed them. They could rapidly outthink most species within Yertle, and soon their own advantages would be turned against them. But the real test was against a species they had never encountered before, the species of Unity. And that was why majority of the high command within Yertle's military was Xif, as having the power to place all the other species into their optimal roles and positions allowed Yertle to strike with deadly efficiency. You'd be unlikely to find many Xif having a job within the government or even a desk job, as it didn't bring them the pride that the Xif strived for. The Xif species had a very different way compared to the other species within Yertle. They would go about their lives without a care in the world until their inner calling of what was known as looking for a career would pull them in like a magnet. Looking for a career was when the younger species of Xif stopped ignoring the events of Yertle, and a feeling of pride rose up within them. They became completely different from who they were before and acted differently. They would feel an overwhelming want to better their species in Yertle, want to build their names and become remembered. And on the day Xife decided he needed to look for a career, he felt this urge too, and he joined the military. Xife knew he wanted to command a ship. He knew he wanted to command other species' ships. He knew he wanted to command all of Yertle's ships. But the chain of events that happened later to Xife changed him again and again, and the ambitious Xif that wanted the best for Yertle changed to wanting revenge, and nothing would stand in his way.